You know, Elf, it's funny. Trying to wipe us out in an attempt to finish what you started eons ago, before we fled to another world as a means for survival, when our ancestors heard the marching of your forces coming. And by the way, thank you for ensuring there were records of our history, after we arrived onto the plains of Africa those many eons ago. We certainly couldn't afford to bring our records with us, so it was rather nice knowing you saved them. And even after going through it, along with comparing them to your own records, we cannot help but laugh. Why, you ask? Because you elves still don't fucking understand us. You see, you elves can live for millennia. You elves don't have to worry about the sand in your hourglasses reaching the bottom as badly as we do. As such, you can take as much time as you like with developing your society, technology and beliefs. But us humans, we didn't have such luck. We had short lives, typically only living for 100 years. As such, we had to advance our society much more rapidly. After all, if we wanted to see our achievements completed in our lifetime, we had to build fast and build big. We had to use our short lifetimes wisely before going into the void. It taught us to live our lives to the maximum. But when we started to catch up to you elves, in a mere eighth of the time it took your people to advance technologically, you grew scared. For the first time, your superiority was at risk. So what did you do? You attacked us. You wanted to wipe us out to ensure the elves would be the dominant culture, society and technologically based civilization on your world. That's why the dwarves, orcs and goblins don't dare advance further than you, because they still remember what you did to us. The only species that didn't have to fear you were the halflings, but they're basically just small hippies, so you wouldn't really have any problems with them. And in all those eons since we ran away to survive, in all those eons you had to yourselves, did you advance in the slightest? No. Believing that now the threat of an equal to your own was gone, you went right back to where you started, while also keeping the others in line. We have a word for such a civilization as yours. Stagnant. You shouldn't have let yourselves become stagnant. Do you know what we did after we established ourselves as the apex of Mother Terra? We looked up. We saw all the stars in the night sky and went, we must go there. So we built a primitive, chemically propelled rocket and sent an artificial object into the stars. Then we put a man into the stars and landed more on the moon in just a few short years. But even that wasn't advanced for us. We saw more places to go beyond the horizon and built more and more advanced spacecraft to reach them. Eventually we discovered others that roamed the stars. Some were friendly enough, others had our drums of war beat again and again until the threats were wiped out. Sometimes we lost, sometimes we won, but through all the challenges thrown at us, we learned and advanced. Do you know why this is? Because we always saw room to improve. We weren't content with just having things one way. If we saw that something could be improved upon, we improved it. If we saw that something could be built in another, easier way, we switched to that method. When we reached the stage where dark matter was being used as the base of most of, if not all, of our technology, we grew scared. You see, we didn't know what came next after harnessing dark matter. We didn't know if there was something that came after it. We feared that we'd be entering an era of stagnation. That was until someone looked into a mirror and found one more thing to improve and upgrade. Homo sapiens evolved into a new stage over 500 years ago. Now we are Homo superior. We are the first, and currently only, known techno-organic life forms in the galaxy. And when we rediscovered the portal structure that allowed us to come to Mother Terra in Africa when we fled, we of course figured out how to turn it back on. Our curiosity of the unknown practically demanded we open it again. What we were expecting when we crossed was to discover new civilizations, to learn from and cooperate with. What we were not expecting was to be shot at with extremely primitive bows and arrows. When we learned why you attacked us, we concluded the only way to ensure your survival was to remove your empire from its status as the dominant power, and force you all to wake the fuck up to reality. That's why our armies march into your territory now. Batting aside your pathetic armies armed with spears, swords, bows and arrows, while ours are armed with particle, plasma, projectile, ground support, tanks, and a whole host of other weapon types we don't feel like listing. So, Prince Morven Silvercrown of the Elven High Kingdoms, do you wish to see your pathetic, stagnant empire fall to the ground in the next 50 minutes? Or would you like to contact dear old Dad now and beg him to stop, before we show you what it's like to be on the receiving end of a superior power, hell-bent on putting you in your rightful place beneath your betters? Better decide quickly, because the sand in your people's hourglass is rapidly hitting the bottom.